Sakshat. Kamal Nabha. Who is Kamal Nabha? Nabha means the Nabhi. Nabhi is, auntie, what is that? The navel. Navel. Kamal Nabha. What came out of the navel? Navel of Bhagwan. Who? I can't tell you. The lotus flower. Right? And when we talk about the Kamal Nabha, we're talking about Brahmaji, right? Where did that come from? Sakshat. Sakshat, it continues. Bhagwan, Kamal, Nabha, Bhagwan, Vishnu. Panditji said the answer. Panditji said the answer. Who is that? Lachmi Bhagwan. Padmanabha, it says here, the lotus flower coming from the navel of Bhagwan, the manifestation of Brahmaji, whose navel? It is Vishnu Bhagwan. Vishnu Bhagwan, Vishnu Bhagwan, and it says here, Bhagwan Vishnu ke mukh kamal se, mukh kamal, the kamal is the lotus flower. His mouth is like as beautiful as the lotus flower. There's no flower as beautiful as what? The kamal ka fool, the lotus flower. And that is how this beautiful soul describes the mouth of Bhagwan. Bhagwan Vishnu ke kamal mukh kamal se, what came? Pragat hui, what came out of the mouth of Bhagwan? Anybody knows for extra Mohanbhog, where Rochan made Mohanbhog. Extra Mohanbhog, if you know the answer. What came out of the lotus mouth of Bhagwan? Anybody knows? You all know, too early this morning. Alright, we'll continue. Us Gita, I've given you the answer there. Us Gita kahi bali bharti gan. It is the Gita that came out of the... So, you can't say Panditji is making this thing up every week. Whereupon, nobody can say that, right? Because this is scripture telling us that it is, with its authority comes from where? The mouth of Bhagwan. The lips of Bhagwan comes a beautiful song by the name of Gita. Aren't you curious what's in it? It seems like most Hindus are not curious people. What are they? Lazy people. Hindus are the laziest of people because they don't open the scriptures and hear the message of Bhagwan. They don't open the scriptures and hear what the saints and sages say. They're not concerned about that. I don't know why. That's a good question. Can you all think about that and chat with me next week when you come back to Monday? Tell me, why is that people are not curious? We are curious about everything else, but we're not curious about the thing that would be beneficial to our existence, that would transform our lives in the most beautiful way, the most beautiful way. And so this morning, as Bhagwan has blessed you and you are here at Monday, through His graces, He wanted you to come and visit Him today. Let us all lend our ears and ourselves, our heart especially, to Bhagwanji as we listen to His glories through the medium of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvandi Divyehe Stave Vede Sangha Padakam Upanishade Gayanti Yam Samagaya Jnanavastita Tadagatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino Yasyantam Naviduhu Surasuragana Devaya Tasmai Namaha Vasudevam Sudam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagatguru. Devaki Paramananda. Devaki Paramananda And that individual, that being, had brought the greatest bliss to whom? Devaki Mata. Devaki Mata was imprisoned. Shortly after her marriage, she was imprisoned with her husband. How many children did she lose at the hands of the demon cunts? She lost 6 children. The 7th child she thought she lost as well for a long period of time. Long period of time. And she was tortured and tormented. Tortured and tormented. Suffered at the greatest level. But who took away all of that? None other than who? Bhagwan Shri Krishna. Bhagwan Shri Krishna. We've got to think about that when we're suffering. We are suffering right now, actually. We need to focus on who? Bhagwan. Gita Shashramidam Punyam Yah Pade Prayatah Kuman Vishnu Padam Vapnoti Bhayashukadi Varjita. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Devotees, I want to go back to chapter 11, verse 55. Verse 55 of chapter 11. Radhe Govinda Gopala Bhaj Radhe Govinda Gopala Radhe Govinda Gopala Bhaj Radhe Krishna Madhusudana Madhusudana Krishna 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 Madhusudana Madhusudana Krishna कर्म कृण मत परमो मद्भक्तः संगवर्जितः निर्वैरः सर्वभूतेषु यः स मे मामेति पाण्डव. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. भगवते And devotees, Bhagwan is speaking to Arjun, he's speaking to you, he says, hey Arjun, he says, hey Arjun, with an exclamation mark. When we do an exclamation mark, we want you to hear. Don't we want you to hear? We want you to hear. But are you listening, is the question. See, one Didi asked me, but yeah, you're always reading katha. Is anybody listening? So I asked the same question of Pandit Sumesh Tiwari the other day, and he said, even if one person listens to the word of Bhagwan as you preach his glories, then that is blessed. One person. So how many people we have today? So we get one person to listen. Imagine if we add maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe all of you listen to the glories of how wonderful that would be. It will not only make the Pandit very happy that you're listening to what he's saying, but it also make Bhagwan happy. Bhagwan happy because my children are paying attention. They're paying attention to my instructions. And because they are paying attention, through his graces, his blessings, our lives will transform. In not a negative way, but in a positive way. Bhagwan's whole purpose is to transform your life in the most beautiful way. Just like that flower, as the sun rose in the morning, it opened up and looked majestic and beautiful, beautiful for you to enjoy, So he says to Arjun, Jo Purush keval mere hi liye sampurna kartavya karmo ko karne wala hai. That individual who works, you all work, right? Years ago, I told my son that he works as he was going up the stairs. What is Panditji talking about again today? He was going up the stairs. I said, son, you have a job. No, Dad, you have a job. No, Dad, don't have a job. Dad, you have a job. I don't have a job. I said, yes, you do. And he was kind of stumped. He was wondering what I was talking about. And I said, son, you have a job. What is that job? Your job is to be a student. You all hear that? A brahmachari, a child, his or her job is to what? Go to school and to be a student. And I said, at that time, I was a manager. We don't appreciate mediocre employees. Those who are just getting by, we don't like. And we tolerate, as managers, we tolerate average employees. We tolerate, they're doing better than the mediocre ones. We tolerate it. But the ones who excel, the ones who take the initiative to do beyond, the ones who take ownership of what's going on, that puts a smile on whose face? On the boss's face. On the boss's face. And those individuals are the ones whom the manager relies on whom? Most. They rely on them most because they will always get what? Their job done. The boss does not have to ask them. And I said, son, your job is to be a student and not a mediocre, not an average, but an excellent student. Who are you working for? Who are you working for as a student? You're working for yourself, right? When you go to your job and you work 5 days a week, 6 days a week, who are you working for? You're working for yourself, right? Because at the end of the week, you're hoping that the boss will give you a paycheck and you'll take the paycheck and buy all the things you need and want. We are all working for whom? For ourselves. But here Bhagwan is saying, do not work for yourself, rather work for me. Whatever you do in life, whatever action you perform, Bhagwan says, dedicate that action to me. Dedicate that action. Are you willing to work for Bhagwan without any thought of reward? Are you willing to do that? For if you're willing to do that, then you'll have a new title. What is that title? A sevak. A sevak. You'll be like Hanumanji. Could you imagine? Do you want to be like Hanumanji, who every moment is spent on serving whom? Bhagwan. Bhagwan says, be my sevak. Serve me. Serve me in everything that you do in your life journey. Serve me. And here Bhagwan says, Mere parayan, be dependent upon me. Be dependent upon me, because you cannot be dependent on your wife. You cannot be dependent upon your husband. You cannot be dependent upon your children. You cannot be dependent on your neighbors. You cannot be dependent even upon yourself, because you have limited resources. Your abilities and capabilities are measured, but the resources of Bhagwan is immeasurable. There is no limit to what Bhagwan can do for whose benefit? For your benefit. Bhagwan says, in this instruction, he says, depend upon me. Mera bhakta hai, that individual should also become devoted to me. And lots of us are stingy people. You know the stingy people, auntie, what they call them? Mahakanjus. They are so stingy that they don't want to share a thing. They don't want to share a thing. The most beautiful thing you can share is what? Not your house, not your car, not your money, not your clothes, nothing that you think is so valuable and precious. But the most wonderful thing you can share is what? Your heart. Your heart. You've got to learn to do what? Love Bhagwan. Love Bhagwan. It is most beneficial for you. Bhagwan is saying, and he continues, Asakti Rahit और संपूर्ण भूत प्राणियों में वैर भाव से रहित है. And Bhagwan says, don't be attached. Don't be attached. Don't be attached. And 2 weeks ago I did a funeral, and I noticed this person who died, she had a big house. She had a big house. But you know, when I looked into the casket, I didn't see the house yet. You ever see a house in the casket? And she had a beautiful car, a fancy car. It was a Lexus she had. But again, when I looked into the casket, I didn't see the car. I didn't see the car. And she had a lot of fancy things. But you know, it was very limited how many fanciness she had in a casket. We are so attached to the things that one day we will leave behind, and then the children or those we have left it for will have a garage sale for 5 cents, 10 cents, and then I can't sit in the sun any longer. I'm just going to give it to Goodwill. That is how attached we are to things that are not worth baking in the sun for. Bhagwan says, stay unattached with all the things that we see in this world. And Bhagwan says, don't fight. Don't fight who? Don't fight my creation. Don't fight my children. Don't fight with the animals. Don't make enmity with anybody. Instead, become loving, become caring, become friendly, become understanding, become appreciative of all those around you. But today, we got to fight. Today, somebody says something, we got to hold that in our mind, in our heart, and we can't get it out. We are so perfect. And you know, they say about the man who lives in a glass house shouldn't throw a stone. We are so wonderful that nobody compares to us. And so we're going to hate that person for the rest of their life. We're going to walk the other side of the road. We're going to do all kind of things to avoid this person because that person is a monster, but we are so good. That is a foolish person right there. Right there is a foolish person because they have malice in their heart. They have nothing good in their mind. They are corrupt individuals where you can't be understanding and forgiving and caring and loving. You know, the most wonderful thing you can do is to be loving to the most needy of individuals, the most dirtiest of individuals, the most foulest of individuals, the individual that you would want nothing to do with. If you could be kind to that person even one time, you'll transform. It transforms your life. It transforms your life. And so if you are not God, that means you're not perfect. And don't expect others to be perfect when that is not possible. Bhagwan says, have no malice for any aspect of what? Of my creation. Waha ananya bhakti yukta purush mujhko hi prapt hota. And this is the roadmap, devotee. Bhagwan is giving you instructions. He's dropping popcorn on the way. He's dropping hints on the way. He's telling you how you can liberate yourself. But we are too busy. We are too busy with everything else. We got our nose up in the air. We're not even looking at these signs. We're not looking for the popcorn. We're just busy with all the superficial things in life. And we are just wasting these opportunities. And then when we exit this world, we hope, we hope that our children will not do a one-day thing. Maybe our children will pray for us. Maybe they will give some tilanjali. Maybe they'll offer some pindana. Maybe they will do something to help us become emancipated. Don't wait for your children and don't wait for other people to do for you when you have been given the opportunity to do for yourselves. Do for yourselves. It's never too late. Never too late. Radhe Govinda Gopala Bhaj Radhe Govinda Gopala Radhe